Hey everyone, SANspotter here, feeling a bit dazed and confused just after stepping off a 14-hour flight from LAX. Anyway, the only thing I can hope for right now is to stay awake long enough to catch my flight over to Chengdu. What better way to fend off sleep is there than getting cozy in a really swanky lounge? Access to the Xiamen Airlines lounge was complimentary thanks to my business class itinerary, and it was easily one of the weirdest but nicest lounge experiences of my entire life. The decor of this lounge had an odd feel to it, but the food was amazing and I didn't have any trouble at all finding something good to eat. Yeah, I probably looked like a weirdo, poking and prodding at everything trying to figure out what it was, but I ate extremely well in here this morning. Who's ready to see what the rest of this terminal is like? The Xiamen airport is pretty big actually, with tons of flights to places I just can't pronounce properly. Anyway, this is the gate area for my flight to Chengdu, and from what I could tell, there were 2 other flights sharing the same gate space. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that I was the only white guy in here this morning. At the very least, I was definitely the only airplane nerd with a camera. Boarding announcement was made in Chinese, and since you're already aware of my inability to process the Chinese language, I just jumped in line with everyone else pretending like I knew what was happening. Well, how about that? Another bus gate with a jet bridge, just like the one I experienced last night at LAX. Unlike the ones at LAX though, these look awfully permanent, which is strange considering that they're literally connected to the main terminal. All things considered, being able to step outside for a brief moment and get a close-up view of the plane before boarding is fun actually. Though admittedly not as fun as stepping through the boarding door and onto yet another Xiamen Airlines aircraft. The best way to describe the Xiamen Airlines 737-800 business class hard product is just like domestic US first class, but a lot more blue. These are pretty much run-of-the-mill recliner seats that wouldn't look entirely out of place on an old Alaska Airlines 737 or something. Except for the blue. The most interesting and funniest part of the boarding process came when the flight attendant stopped by and presented me with the latest copy of the Beijing Review. The way she handed it to me already opened seemed to imply that it would have been rude of me not to thumb through it, for a few seconds at least. So there I sat, soaking up all the latest Chinese business news, even though I'm just a YouTuber trying to make another silly video. As I sat there contemplating how bilateral trade between the US and China has surged from $2.5 billion to $534 billion in the past 3 decades, she came back offering an assortment of pre-departure drinks. I wish I could tell you that I went right back to thinking about all that neat stuff I just read about in that magazine, but I need video footage of my water. Steady. There were 2 babies here in business class this morning, myself not included, but both were very quiet and quite sleepy. Oh, and can you believe that I forgot to show you the menu earlier? I guess that just means that the Beijing Review was far more interesting than I thought. Another thing that I felt really guilty of not partaking in was the pair of slippers that the flight attendant so carefully unpackaged and placed neatly next to my feet. No way was I going to turn that down. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Staying awake and continuing to get footage for this video was proving to be difficult. However, I had already been formally presented with a Chinese business magazine and comfortable slippers, so what would I be risking if I dozed off? See that? Your boy SANspotter came through clutch by staying awake long enough to present this footage of the entertainment system which was handed out by the flight attendants. Actually, it's just useless footage of me trying to untangle the headphones, but it's footage nonetheless. Did you see my last video? If you did, you're already very well aware of the fact that food in Xiamen Airlines International Business Class is good. But how is the food on these domestic business class flights? Well, it's equally good. So good in fact that I don't care if you're flying from Buffalo to Guadalajara, you'd be a fool not to figure out how to fly Xiamen on the way there. It's amazing to me how many people think that flying business class is super luxurious and that you always end up at your destination feeling sharp and fresh. The reality is, flying is flying, and I still end up at the end of these flights feeling like I could beat my cat in a sleeping contest just like I could when I fly economy. Better late than never, right? At first I thought it was because I was asleep for so long, but everyone else was served nuts at the exact same time. Don't you hate it when you realize that you're not as special as you thought you were? Now that my second ever flight on Xiamen Airlines is just about complete, I feel like I've experienced enough to form an honest opinion about how competitive they are both internationally and domestically. Assuming that we don't crash and burn on this landing, I can say confidently that they are now one of my favorite airlines ever. Top 3, definitely. By the way, check out all those people on the hill watching planes on the approach path. There's either a really special airplane arriving today, or people in Chengdu just like watching airplanes. Either way, that's pretty cool. Or maybe they're just big fans of Xiamen Air like I am. Finally, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate all the continued support. Also, an especially big bear hug goes out to all my patrons. Your contributions are helping to grow this channel into something huge, so thanks for that. You guys rock.